Shalom, shalom. Before I get started, I want to give all praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem, Harakak and double honors to the other apostles, the great millstone who rule and teach well, and honors and salutations to the men of the Lord doing the same and teaching the same. All right, wherever you're at in the earth. Okay. The title of this lesson will be Esau, the so-called white man, brought confusion to every aspect of life. Okay, Esau, the so-called white man, who is the biblical Edomites, descendants of Esau, Edom. All right, they brought confusion to every aspect of life. Okay, and it don't matter, what what you want to talk about in life. Esau has brought confusion to it. And just to name a few, the weather. Esau has brought confusion to the weather. All right. To the animals. All right. The people. On every aspect of life that you can think of, Esau has destroyed and brought nothing but confusion on the earth. And I want to focus on these two definitions. All right, desensitize and brainwash. All right. In our people, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, you have been brainwashed and desensitized into thinking like this is how life's supposed to be. All right, into thinking, this shit cool and going, just thinking this is the way of life, and it's not. All right. And the Bible, the words of Yahweh Hashem Yahushua lets us know, what's righteousness, how the earth's supposed to be ran in righteousness. Okay, and the earth is not being ran in righteousness. Why? Because the wicked ruling the earth in these last days. All right, and if you know biblical prophecy, all right, we're in the time of the Lord Yahweh Shah coming back to this earth, the Messiah. All right. So we don't have that much longer until Yahweh Shah come back. And you can tell by the visions, the prophecies of the Bible. Okay. And the people that will be ruling the world in the last days, the Bible lets us know they're going to fight against the Lord. All right. 2nd Ezra, the 13th chapter. You can read that. All right. And they're going to be fighting against the Lord. Also, when you go against going to Daniel, the 2nd chapter and the 7th chapter, it lets you know, we're in the time period of those that the foot of Nebuchadnezzar's statue. All right, that prophetic dream he had, and Daniel broke it down to him. All right, so we're at the end. We're at the end of that statue, so to speak. Okay, we're at the foot of that statue, and the Bible clearly lets you know the kingdom of heaven is right after that. So, using critical thinking, by process of elimination, the kingdoms and the people that rule these kingdoms in the last days, all right, that's what that prophecy is talking about. All right, and it clearly putting, precept upon precept, line upon line, all right, linking the prophecies together. Clearly, these are the people who the Lord is coming to take down. But Christians, they don't understand the Bible. The Lord is not dealing with them. All right, even these, Edomites, all right, these scholars, the ones that try to get prophetic, they don't understand prophecy. And then prophecy of the Bible is not in their favor. And they know that. They know all the atrocities. They know the history. They know all the evil they have done. And they know the evil they're doing now. All right, for crying out loud, Esau, the so-called white man, he's pushing the mark of the beast So that's another telltale sign that these people are the Edomites, and also that America is Babylon the Great. Okay, and this beast system, this has to be that beast system who the Lord is going to take down, all right, along with the NATO and the EU. But people don't want to think of like that because, you know, Esau, the so-called white man, whether you believe it or not, and it's not about skin color. Okay, we got plenty of sit-downs on it, all right, going into how your nationality, your lineage, and race is traced by the father, the patriarch, all right, the seed, okay, all right. But these Edomites, so-called white people, that's what they call themselves, all right, they don't actually believe in the God of the Bible. They have brainwashed you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans into thinking, you know, that they're I'm gonna use the word Christian, all right, and godly people, godlike people. But they count, like I say, they count on your ignorance and stupidity to buy that shit, you know, to buy those wolf tickets, all right, and they use that as a tool, all right, as a war strategy, okay, to further destroy and oppress and subdue you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, who are the biblical Israelites, God's chosen people, the 12 tribes. All right, but only a remnant, elect, chosen few, the Lord is going to save in these last days, and that's biblical prophecy. But let me read these two definitions, and I'm not going to make it too long. All right. So this brainwash, it says, brainwash refers to a process of systematic persuasion that aims to change someone's core beliefs through coercive methods, often involving isolation, manipulation, and duress. It can also be used more broadly to describe any intense form of manipulation or propaganda, such as advertising influencing consumer habits. All right. And they do that in all kinds of ways. All right. You know, this is America ain't nothing but a trap. All right, it's like a huge gin. You know, it's like a huge bird trap for you Israelites. You know, and the scriptures, ironically, the scriptures call you Israelites that look like the other nations, appearance wise, and skin color wise. It calls you speckled birds. That speckled bird prophecy lets you know you're going to have Israelites, all right, whose bloodline goes back to Israel, and they have the spirit of a Israelite, but they have the appearance of another race. They may look like a so-called white person or Chinese person or Japanese or Arab, but they have the blood and the spirit of an Israelite, okay? And Romans 8 and 16 goes into that, and Numbers 1 and 18, all right? So let's get the other definition. So this is desensitized. It says, having been made less sensitive, all right? Having been made less likely to feel shock or distress at scenes of cruelty or suffering by overexposure to such things, okay? Let's get it in the Merriam-Webster. And that's exactly what happened. Our people, you Israelites, you're desensitized, okay? And then, the old bottles, they destroyed. They butt broken, mentally butt broken. So they're defeated, You're a race of people that have been defeated, all right, and conquered. Why you think the older generation, talking about the old heads that's not in the truth, obviously, they don't pass on no type of useful information. They're not teaching you about shit that actually matter. These old heads gonna teach you how to save money, learn you a trade. They're gonna teach you how to be a fucking slave in America. That's it. you know, and they didn't experience way more racism and injustice, all right, and oppression than the younger the younger generation, all right. But they're not gonna, and they didn't seen 80 years, 60 years of oppression, but still would give the younger generation false hope. And they know that Esau, the so-called white man, is the devil the Bible speaks of. They know through experience. They don't know far as knowledge or biblical wise, but they know through experience that damn, these people are just devils, you know. But the scriptures lets us know you're going to have those type of people, Israelites. All right, they're old bottles. They're just, they're going through the motions. All right, and Esau's not worrying about the older niggas. He's not worrying about them. you know, it says desensitize. All right, to make a sensitized or hypersensitive individual insensitive or non-reactive to a sensitizing agent. You see? And that's true. All right. 2/3 of our people, they're non-reactive spiritually and mentally when it comes to oppression, being in slavery. This is modern day slavery, captivity. And all the signs are there. And matter of fact, the Bible tells you, these people about to come down with great wrath. All right, they about to implement martial law. Okay. Jacob's trouble has already started. Okay, they about to starve you motherfuckers out. They about to cut the power on you motherfuckers because they want you to submit to the New World Order and take the mark of the beast, their RFID chip and their Neuralink. All right, that's what it's all about. Okay, so it says, and I'm gonna speed up too. To make emotionally insensitive. All right. That's pretty much it. We ain't gotta keep going. That's it. And you see it. Because the theme of the day, everybody at my job, they having small talk. You can say whispering or whatever about food stamps. Everybody talking about fucking food stamps. Hey, they cutting it. You better save your. And this all people of the world is saying. You better save your money. I hope you've been saving your money. Like just dumb. Like don't know what's going on. Just don't know what's going on. All right, and of course, before the system completely collapse, you're still gonna have a little time period of still being able to go buy stuff. But a lot of people are gonna lose their homes, lose their cars, because they can't keep up with the payments. All right, so we know wisdom and money is a defense. So of course we manage our money wisely in this truth. All right, and we don't depend on government benefits. All right, but you use this world, don't abuse it. Of course, if you can get both, while the getting is good, use both. All right, we're not going to be here forever. The Lord is about to bring this place down and deliver his elect chosen of the Israelites. All right. Okay. And I heard one co-worker say, he said, he was insinuating, but he said it plainly, but he didn't say too much. But he was like, you better get you a gun if you don't got one. And he was insinuating that he's good, And little do he know, this he haven't repented. He's a complete sinner. It's going to take divine intervention and divine protection from the Lord to get through this great tribulation that's coming. You talking about you better get a gun, and you talking about the different guns you got, shotguns, pistols, rifles. That shit is not going to save you. But you got millions of niggas that think like that. They like, oh well, shit, I got my gun, so they think that's going to protect them. All right. And that's not going to protect you. All right. The Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushua is going to have to be protecting us, lifting up that standard, like the scripture says, to protect us. All right. Psalms 34. The Lord have his angels protecting you. Okay. So if you're not of the elect, it don't matter how many guns and bullets you stocking up for, because people about to be looting. It don't matter. It don't matter. And then the Lord will make it to, well, since you don't have faith in him, he'll make your gun jam. He'll make all your guns jam, at the most sensitive time ever. At the worst time ever, when you really need them. So you Israelites, you better repent. You so-called blacks, Hispanics, Native Americans, you better repent. All right, return to the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, whose name is Yahweh. His only begotten son name is Yahweh Shah, who the world falsely called Jesus. That's not his name. Okay, his name is Yahweh Shah. Okay, and the only way you can receive salvation and protection from the Lord is if you know his true name and also live in accordance to how he told you to live. All right, and having faith in Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shah. So, Job 4:7. All right, Job 4:7. Remember, I pray thee, whoever perished being innocent, or where were the righteous cut off? Even as I have seen, they that plow iniquity and sow wickedness reap the same. By the blast of the Most High they perish, and by the breath of his nostrils are they consumed. Okay? And I'm going to make my point after I get through these precepts. Proverbs 29:2. When the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice, but when the wicked beareth rule, the people mourn. And you see that. The scriptures give you, it exposes this devil, Jeremiah. And then you come to the realization, well, according to the Bible, America is not obeying God, just to put it plainly. All right. Everything that's going on in this motherfucker is against God, So that lets you know Christianity is a false religion. All right. It's a doctrine of devils. Okay. And all these different religions in this place around the world, they're worshiping idols. All right. Jeremiah 51:25. Behold, I am against thee, O destroying mountain, saith the Lord, which destroys all. So, let me read it again. Excuse me. Jeremiah 51:25. Behold, I am against thee, O destroying mountain. And that mountain represents what? A government, a kingdom. All right? O destroying mountain, saith the Lord, which destroys all the earth. Talking about Babylon the Great America. And I will stretch out mine hand upon thee and roll thee down from the rocks and will make thee a burnt mountain. You see? So the Lord is about to bring judgment on this place. Nuclear judgment on Babylon the Great America. And it's biblical prophecy. All you got to do is connect the dots. All right? Isaiah 24:10. The city of confusion is broken down. Every house is shut up that no man may come in. There is a crying for wine, talking about wisdom, knowledge, and understanding in the streets. All joy is darkened. The mirth of the land is gone. And you can see that. This place, Babylon the Great America, is nothing but a city of confusion. Okay? And it's going down. All right? The Lord is bringing this place down. All right. It had its run. It had its golden age or whatever like that. And the Lord is bringing this place down. Okay. And now the kingdom of heaven is next. Okay. And with that, I want to end it and give all praises to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shah, Bahasham, Harakakadash. Double honors to the apostles, great millstone, ruling, teach well, and honest and salutations to the men of the Lord, doing the same and teaching the same.